I'll never forget the roar of my chainsaw at 3 a.m. that morning. The HOA's administrative cabin, a squat structure with a hand-painted sign declaring 9 to 5 office hours, stood quiet. By 6 a.m., it was a sealed wooden cube, no windows, no doors, no way out. Inside were 2 ergonomic chairs, a fancy coffee machine, and Garrett, the HOA president's son, who just tried to steal my lakeside cabin with fraudulent paperwork. As I drove the final nail into the last plank, I stapled a laminated note to what was once the door. Try squatting in someone else's property now. Garrett. My name's Todd Hensley. 2 years ago, I inherited my grandfather's cabin in Pine Ridge Reserve, a rustic retreat nestled among evergreens, where loons call across the lake and bass splash at dawn. I'm a contractor, happiest with a hammer in hand or a fishing line. In the water, far from suburban drama, the cabin was my sanctuary until I crossed paths with Denise Crowley, the HOA's self-styled queen. Denise ruled Pine Ridge like a feudal lord, armed with color-coded complaint forms and an obsession for control. She once fined a family of geese for loitering with intent to defecate. Her son, Garrett, a failed crypto bro turned property optimization specialist, lived in her basement, dreaming of real estate empires he'd never build. Together, they turned HOA meetings into theatrical standoffs. The trouble started subtly. Garrett began paddling his yellow kayak past my dock daily, tossing out fake friendly comments. "This place has potential, man," he'd say, eyeing my cabin. "You could maximize the square footage." I'd grunt, hoping he'd leave, but he was persistent, like a mosquito you can't swat. Then Denise started her official visits, clipboard in hand, citing obscure bylaws. Section 9B requires rustic structures to promote communal harmony, she'd declare, her pen tapping. Your cabin's isolation could lower property values. I'd offer water, she'd refuse, and send her off politely. The harassment escalated. Orange violation stickers appeared on my door, citing excessive pine needle accumulation or failure to maintain cheerful curb appeal. One morning, I caught Denise photographing my laundry line, claiming it was evidence of neglect. I explained the cabin's 40-year family history and my meticulous upkeep, but she was unmoved. At the next HOA meeting, she unveiled a slideshow, The Hensley Problem, a case study in community decay, with doctored photos making my cabin look like a shack. "This property is a blight," she proclaimed. "We must reclaim it for community use." Neighbors shifted uncomfortably. Old Jim Polson, who knew my grandfather, snapped, "That cabin's older than your rules, Denise. You can't steal it over pine needles." Undeterred, she waved a binder of legal-looking documents. 3 weeks later, I returned from a 48-hour fishing trip to find a property reassigned sign on my lawn. The locks were changed, and a document taped to the window declared my cabin forfeit due to prolonged abandonment and spiritual neglect. It bore Denise's signature and transferred ownership to the Pine Ridge Community Innovation Hub, managed by Garrett. Through the window, I saw his massage chair and a Bitcoin mining rig inside. A note on my truck's windshield, in Garrett's scrawl, read, "Thanks for keeping the foundation level, bro. I'll take care of the place while I manifest my vision. Peace and prosperity." He'd drawn a smiley face. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. Anger wouldn't fix this. I drove to the HOA cabin, where Denise and Garrett were high-fiving over documents, oblivious to my presence. That's when my plan took shape. At the hardware store, I loaded my truck with plywood, nails, and construction adhesive. The cashier, a cheerful teen, asked, "Big project?" I smiled. "Creative renovations." I called my lawyer to start reclaiming my property, but knew it'd take time. Meanwhile, Garrett was likely rearranging my grandfather's furniture. I channeled my anger into preparation, measuring the HOA cabin precisely. I waited for the perfect moment, 3 a.m. Tuesday, when Denise and Garrett would arrive for their strategic planning Tuesday at 5:30 a.m., armed with smoothies and agendas. By headlamp, I worked with 30 years of construction know-how. I applied adhesive around the window frames, screwing plywood over them, sealing the cabin tight. By 4:30 a.m., only the door remained. Right on schedule, Denise's car pulled up. They entered, missing the plywood in the pre-dawn dark, and settled in. I gave them 30 minutes, then moved, I wedged a steel bar under the door to block it, then screwed a plywood sheet over the frame. Garrett's panicked voice broke the silence. "What's going on out there?" The door rattled as he yanked it. Denise shrieked about legal consequences. I worked silently, driving each screw with care. By 6 a.m., the cabin was a sealed cube, save for tiny roof vents. I stapled my note, stepped back, and admired my work as the sun rose, painting the lake pink and gold. Inside, Denise was on her phone, hysterically calling the police. "We're trapped by a madman." I drove to a diner for pancakes and coffee, then called the sheriff's office. "Todd Hensley here," I said calmly. "I'm reporting a break-in at my Pine Ridge cabin. The perpetrators locked themselves in the HOA office while fleeing. Please check it out." Deputy Rodriguez arrived, took one look at the cube, and laughed. "Someone's in there." Garrett's voice whined through the walls, begging for rescue and complaining about coffee. She called for backup, more for witnesses than danger. The fire department took 2 hours to free Denise and Garrett. They stumbled out, Denise's hair a mess, Garrett clutching his laptop. Denise launched into a tirade about false imprisonment, but Rodriguez cut her off. "I need your documentation for the Hensley property transfer," she said. "We got a fraud complaint." Denise paled, stammering about HOA procedures. The investigation was swift. Denise had forged my signature on the abandonment papers and never filed them with the county. Garrett had started selling my fishing gear online, adding theft to their charges. Within a week, the DA filed fraud, forgery, breaking and entering, and theft charges against them. Denise resigned as HOA president in disgrace. The local paper ran a story. HOA president housed in hot water after cabin caper, with a photo of the sealed cabin that went briefly viral. At the trial 3 months later, Denise claimed she was protecting the community. Judge Henderson wasn't having it. "You forged documents, broke into a home, and tried to steal property worth over $100,000. She said. "Your HOA role gave you no such authority." Denise got 2 years probation, 300 hours of community service, a $25,000 restitution order, and a permanent ban from HOA boards statewide. She crumpled as the gavel fell, wailing, "I was improving the community." Garrett got 6 months probation and had to return my grandfather's fishing rods. He muttered about the universe's unfairness as the sentence landed. The cabins. Mine again, locks changed, signs gone. I sit on my dock at dawn, casting my line. The lake quiet except for the loons. Pine Ridge feels lighter now. The air cleaner without Denise's clipboard or Garrett's kayak. Neighbors stop by, some apologizing for not speaking up sooner. Others just to share a beer and laugh about the cube incident. Old Jim Poulsen summed it up best. "Todd, your grandfather would have loved to see you stick it to those two." I smile, reel in a bass, and think he's right. The cabin's not just wood and nails, it's a legacy. And I'll fight for it, chainsaw or not.